This is where I was mad at God, right? Today with the 007 frickin' it's like God set me up, right? Anyway, my telephone number. There's this guy made sure that Spy for Steve made sure that like I looked at him before he flew off with his bubble hearth. Where you read your mind, or you rape your brain. It just feels like God is trolling me. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. Hmm. While these Nazis are trolling me. But I mean, again, this is assigning so much significance to so many weird things because of their MK Ultra mindfuckery. And they'll take whatever hit they can get. The demons and the demon people, right? I'm sure it would be like if my phone number ended in 227, like I would have thought, oh, how come I how come I don't have a nice happy 227 life? If you're old enough to get that reference. I didn't used to be crazy like this before the Nazi mind control. Hey. Mm. Warrant, righteous indignation. You have a warrant for the mindfuckery? That's good. Like, I mean, come and serve it. Like, seriously. Bring me into court.
Your Honor, we've been innocently torturing this guy for 13 years.
Honestly, that was when this all started. I thought it was because my video game name was Monkey Bomb, and I felt bad about that. I was like, "Oh, is that how I got watch list?" Uh, I mean, Your Honor, as if I wouldn't like meet into one of your James Fetzer judges, one of your Alex Jones judges. You guys would be fine, don't worry. You're allowed to rape, you're allowed to kill, you're allowed to steal. You guys have special privileges. Just, I don't know. I can't help you. Again, just in case, I don't know. You guys with your witchy stuff, right? I'm being sarcastic. Like, you don't have a right to rape, kill, steal. Was this all an event led by you guys to have people here? Like, it just completely cleared out? 30 people all finished their quest at once and nobody else showed up in the meantime to finish their quest? I don't know, maybe I got phased. I don't know why I would get phased on my own server though. Plus, you guys were doing the experimental torture well before any of that stuff, right? Forgot about my psych ward hand tattoo. Yeah, it seems like that's it, right? Like God just wants us to have normal lives, and now you guys have leaned on some kind of witchcraft, some special Egypt knowledge, right? I am not the only anonymous person here, right? Again. What was your past lives? Why am I the only person with past lives? Ha ha ha, rockatool. Oh, this is a bell tool for me. Like, hurry the fuck up and kill me then. Like, I'm honestly sick of this. Like, it's just, I got nothing. Like, this is who you are. You're the death threat murder people. Get on it. Possible 2v3.
I'm just a normal person.
Like, people don't talk in this game, first of all. You guys ensured that with your vicious internetery and 9/11 stuff and make everyone hate each other. Like, just turn up the volume on the brain cooking and then I'll be done. You won't have to worry about me. You can go back to your cauldrons.
What do you think?
Are you laughing right now? We don't use cauldrons. We use bat blood. He's so dumb. I kid. I know it's you guys just straight witchcraft, right? Oh, great. You're the visionaries with the sight beyond sight, right? You're the knights of the magical light. Indoctrination. Hey kids, come join our sellout cause. Indoctrination. Mm. I don't even know what I upload. I feel like I just stopped uploading stuff, or I feel like I made a long video the other night and put this in it and didn't upload it, and this is how I've known for a minute, but yeah, this is
That's why they quote unquote lock.
like 100% proof that Sandy Hook was a psychological operation. David Wheeler, ha ha ha. There's the sniper, David Wheeler. Again, I feel like I said this in a video the other day, but I mean, just his whole demeanor of like shame and like hiding while he's there. But where's the? Yeah, I mean, again, this is they put Jim Fetzer into court and made him pay a $450,000 fine. That's how corrupt. That's how far gone you guys are. That's how evil. Yeah. So like me, like I know the accusation here, the backhanded accusation is that you're an actor. Like I'm just like again, I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't doing anything. You guys came to me. I seem to have a long history of that. I mean, that's not entirely true, right? I was looking at the Georgia guys' own stuff and like all the weird stuff. But that was just like fun curiosity. It was like intellectual exercise that wasn't. I didn't know I'd find every Satanist on the planet. Hellborn. I mean, again, like if that's what you think, then kill me. Like God will cheer for you. God will be like, ah, you finally killed that demon person. That's it. I mean, this is disgusting, right? This is like you guys have got me cornered, and I have like, hey, look at you, you're war criminals. This is exciting. At least when you press record, you get rid of some of the gang stalk names. Eh. Is that one of you guys? Is that Unbreakable?
Even when I got 2 penises in me. I was unbreakable.
My point is that like they like self-test themselves about why they should be club elite, right?
When my daddy was flying over in his jet fighter and he bailed out in the ocean, he proved he deserved to be assassinating JFK.
I always imagine what they did to me is like what they do to like a lot of their insiders, where it's just like they get on the hook for something, and then they like they haunt them with movies and stuff, right? So like Fight Club, where no one talks about Fight Club, and you're unbreakable, and like just like all just false religion. Like, no. Anyway, I have no idea. All I know is demons are ripping my face apart. Oh, my government tortures me. And also very exciting.
It supersedes every other law in the U.S. criminal justice system and the judicial branch. That's worth remembering. When the U.S. government violates the Constitution, they are committing multiple felonies based on the foundation of our government. You must always remember that. So, as a federal agent, I had to swear an oath to the Constitution to defend the Constitution and our country against enemies, foreign and domestic. The problem was there were some that were domestic, and there were some that happened to be in our own government. So I had to make a decision. Was I going to uphold my oath to the Constitution, or was I going to shrink back? And for me, it was an easy choice. I chose to stand with the Constitution, and that's why I'm here this evening. We have to. If it's because we have been so busy with our lives, just trying to survive, that they've been able to get away with doing what they've done. This is a wake-up call. This is an alert. This whole conference and the one that's subsequently going to come after this is a wake-up call. It is almost too late to stop what is now a post-constitutional government. The people are no longer ruling in our country. The government, in a tyrannical form, is now ruling the people by subversion, force, and fear. Sadly, that's what we have today. The reason I am here is the question is always asked, where are the whistleblowers? If there is a covert geoengineering program, why aren't people coming out and blowing the whistle on it if it's so dangerous? The NSA surveillance program, if it wasn't for Edward Snowden, who both the Democratic and Republican Party have come out publicly and said they want him assassinated. If it wasn't for Edward Snowden, would we know about the NSA spying program that's collecting 1.5 billion pieces of information on you and me and our telephones and our internet communications, our emails? That's what they were doing, not on terrorists, on us. And they were storing it in the Utah data center, which is still there forever. So if there's something you do later on that they're not real happy with, they've got your emails, your texts, your cell phone conversations, and everything's still stored in the database. And all that stuff, by the way, is still there on you, not on terrorists. Every single American citizen. So this is what we have here. We have a government that is functioning outside the Constitution. This is the size of the secret government. I call it the shadow government. There are some people call it the deep state. Take your pick. Same thing. We've got the CIA, functions covert programs. They're probably the most out of control because their charter is so loose. The IRS has covert programs. FBI, Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, Department of Justice, the NSA, and I have added the National Weather Service and NOAA, because as Dane, I think, told you, the National Weather Service and NOAA are now binding their employees with secrecy agreements so they cannot talk without penalty of prison about some of these climate programs that they're doing. That's called a red flag. That's what we're facing. Here is the first whistleblower, John F. Kennedy. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. One of the greatest speeches ever given in terms of the Constitution. And there is a very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That was a prophetic message by John F. Kennedy, April 27, 1961. We all know what happened to him in 1963, don't we? They had identified, John F. Kennedy and Robert had identified mafia connections within the CIA. There was an assassination program. They engaged in the Bay of Pigs without his knowledge. He had come out publicly and said he was going to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces and dismantle it. And then in 1963, we saw what happened. 9/11, we don't have time to go into that. I just want to say this. I teach criminal investigations at a university. 9/11 was immediately labeled a terrorist event, and there was a reason for that. When you label it a terrorist event, it stops any sort of criminal investigation right in its tracks. If they would have done a criminal investigation of 9/11, it would have uncovered things that would have painted a whole different picture about why those buildings came down. I would encourage you to, Architects and Engineers for Truth have done an outstanding video about Tower 7. Tower 7 was not hit by a plane, and it came down under controlled definition. Now, I'm a former CIA analyst, and I'm saying that based on a whole lot of research. That was not done by a plane. And just finally, when the towers came down, hundreds of tons of metal, steel, marble, and concrete turned to dust before it hit the ground. So much so that there was almost no seismic activity when the buildings hit the ground. It was all dust. You can see steel girders as they come down, if any of you seen that, literally vaporize and turn to dust as they fall down. That is not natural. All we're going to say there. I recommend you look into a criminal investigation of 9/11 and get past the terrorist narrative, which has been a favorite one for decades. Where are the whistleblowers? I come from the belly of the beast. I was an interviewer, interrogator. I was a counterintelligence agent. I was a polygraph examiner. I was an internal investigator, and on and on and on. And so I know this system, and I know it well, and then I experienced it personally. Why don't people come out in these secret programs that they know are illegal and unconstitutional? Why don't they come out and blow the whistle and tell people what's going on? Well, this is why. The U.S. government Every secret operational program that it has forces the employee or coerces the employee, the person, into signing what is called a secrecy agreement, non-disclosure agreement. Now, back in the original days, the secrecy agreement was created to protect legitimate sources and methods, military technology and things like that. That was okay, that was fine. The secrecy agreement protected us when we went out in the field, because if they found out who we were, we wouldn't just be killed, we would have been tortured. So it protected our identities, protects the identities of troops in the field doing movements out during wartime. That's how it started.
Well, so they always use that kind of thing as a smokescreen to... I feel like you're just way safer knowing everything they do. Like when's the last time you heard that, you know, I don't know, the people from Ronkonkoma took over frickin' Hoboken? I don't know, you know? Like, it's always a government, right? It's never, it's always like saying with free speech, like, it's better to have free speech and have, like, the idiots talk and then you get to hear their opinions rather than saying, oh, that's... Because anytime you let that happen, then when people like these people show up...
But it's been taken and it's been turned into a monster where the secrecy agreement is now being used as the ultimate tool of intimidation. Every employee that gets a job and obtains knowledge of these covert programs, the Air Force Geoengineering program, in my opinion, has to sign this agreement. What the agreement says is, if you disclose anything that you know about this program, you can be terminated or you can force criminal penalties. In other words, you can be put in prison. Their friend, we hope will be speaking at our next event, was put in prison by the CIA for 2 years. He exposed the torture program, which was a lot more than waterboarding, folks. As a matter of fact, they got almost nothing out of waterboarding. People died. It was bad. Anyway, he came out publicly talked about the torture program, made one mistake, one wrong word. They convicted him, John Kirikow, and they put him in prison for 2 years. Modern day hero. Just got out. So sort of 2 years for coming out and trying to alert people about what was going on. I was talking to somebody in the back. I have to watch every single word I say because they are just waiting for one thing. And so it's a constant stream. You don't want to give them any ammunition to put in their gun. So there's binding power, penalties, and threats for the secrecy agreement. That stops 99% of the people right there. Oh man, I'm not going there. I'll just look the other way. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want my life destroyed. Now, there is a massive, mammoth, complex, secret mechanism in the U.S. government. It's called the intelligence community. It is so powerful that not even the Congress or the Senate can control it. Matter of fact, it controls them. It does whatever it wants. They have these Senate investigations, and they'll come and they say, sorry, Senator, we can't tell you.
I mean, Hillary's an insider, right? But he's right at, like, while she's an insider, that's the Chelsea blast, right? That's what I'm talking about with the Fight Club stuff, right? Where they don't know, like, what the top of the whatever is, but whatchamacallit, the Chelsea blast. The Chelsea blast. That was the New York Post headline, but there was an explosion in Chelsea, New York 1 month before Hillary lost. And, you know, like, you and I read that and you're like, oh, those damn terrorists in Chelsea, New York. Hillary, deep state agent, reads that and she gets their message, you know? But, I mean, again, they do it to both sides. They just throw the last guy under the bus constantly and keep their evil system going. Well, you know what was really wrong with Biden? Yeah! Okay, next corrupt asshole.
What we're doing because you don't have the agency clearance, and that's where it's shut down. Benghazi is an example. The NSA surveillance program is an example. Where did those go? Nowhere. I sit on the Citizens Commission of Benghazi, and that's a whole other story. Maybe the next conference. Anyway. Began in 1948. I talk about this in the book real quickly. An Air Force B-2 bomber had 4 RCA civilian engineers on board. The plane went down in a horrible accident. A couple of the pilots parachuted out. All 4 engineers were killed in a horrible crash. The widows of the engineers demanded to know from the Air Force why the plane crashed and why their husbands died. The Air Force came back and said, Well, we can't tell you that because it's secret. Turns out it was gross negligence on behalf of the pilot. Drove the plane into the ground. Hit the wrong flaps, hit the thruster instead of the opposite, and literally drove that bomber right into the farmland. I've been to the site. I have pictures of it in the book. So the families pushed it and said, no, it wasn't classified. You can't do that. We're suing you for the death of our husbands. So the United States government, the executive branch, created what's called the state's secrets privilege. The state's secrets privilege was literally, the wording was derived from the monarchy of the King of England, which gave the King of England absolute power to shut down any case they deemed was unacceptable. To shut it down. The state secrets privilege was used to shut down these four widows' case. It was shut down. It was sealed in federal court so that no one, including Congress, the Senate, and their attorneys, would ever see it. That's where this all began in 1948. And it's gotten far worse from there. People who signed this binding secrecy agreement, which I have signed several of in several compartments as well, they are not told, they do not know that when they sign that agreement, they are giving up all of their constitutional rights. They have no right to trial. They have no right to a jury trial. They have no right to sue the government if they are exposed to toxins and made sick, or their family or anyone else. They have lost all their rights to due process. They're not told that. I found that out the hard way when I tried to sue the government, and they came back and said, sorry, pal, you don't have any rights. So I took a different course, which I'll tell you about here in a moment.
I would say points for God, right? You can't like write down, oh, we indemnify ourselves against thou shalt not kill, and you've signed this clause, and that means that you're allowed to steal.
So that's how they shut them up too. There is within each federal agency. Now remember, since 1948, this procedure has been perfected. It is a science to destroy a whistleblower from the very beginning. They come to a supervisor. They may even have the courage to call their congressman or senator about this illegal operation. And the first thing that happens is they start getting promotions denied, even though they're top performers. The promotions are denied. They're given embarrassing assignments where they're put in the corner of a building somewhere so that everybody knows that they're being penalized for this. If they continue to blow the whistle and push it even farther, they'll do things like this. I have seen this personally. They'll raise the interest rates on the credit union loans so that their cars and other loans are unaffordable. If they try to pull out their retirement funds to provide for their family, especially in the case where they've been driven out of the organization will block their retirement funds so the family will be destroyed financially. Now that is a felony. For a federal agency to deny the retirement funds of an employee is a felony. I've seen them do that. And it was an interesting case. They will do that. Now, another thing that they will do, just so you all know this, and I want the public to know this too, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we can see that you're very stressed out by all this. We want to help you. So we're going to refer you to the Office of Medical Services so you can undergo some psychological counseling to help you sleep at night and make you better and get rid of your anxiety. So we're going to set up an appointment for you to meet with a psychologist. Now, where do you suppose that goes?
It's really, I don't know. Spiritual things, I have no idea. They recognized my soul, I don't know, but that was a preemptive tattoo on my hand with the psych ward. I really wonder why I was wigging out so much for you guys cooking my brain, and then you got to tattoo me in a psych ward. Anyway, whatchamacallit? Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, with my neighbors, my gang stalk neighbors, like the guy that rammed my car, the guy that again rammed. I don't want to sound like it was a gentle ramming, but the guy who I complain about this game with the 5v1, the guy down my street, enjoying the 5v1, and they're both Middle Eastern, right? They've made sure they're Middle Eastern, so that's like their misdirection. It's like, oh, become a hater of Muslims, please. Anyway.
The interview's over. The document is falsified. Employee is paranoid, obsessive, compulsive, and disgruntled. That goes in the file, so if it ever does get to the Congress or Senate or court, they pull out and say, well, look, he or she went under an evaluation and they're basically unstable, end of story. shut the case down. Part of an intentional process. It is a campaign. Inspector Generals, you guys, you know that every federal agency has an IG, an Inspector General, right? They're created, supposedly, to oversee that agency and keep it out of criminal activity, right?
They mad. Or maybe I just ran into the 2100 duo.
Well, wrong. A lot of Inspector Generals, now I have to give some kudos to the state IG because they helped me expose one particular operation. My agency's IG, I submitted a 15-page complex documented report documenting my family was exposed to toxins, my wife was bleeding out of her gums, she was bruising all over her body, she lost a short-term memory, she was on morphine because of severe headaches because of the toxins. They didn't want people to...
That's what they did to me with the, like, it feels like my front teeth have gone loose because it feels like my brain's been ripped apart from the inside, but my tongue's always pushed against like my bottom teeth, and it's pushing them out. And it's made them all loose. Plus when they made, I mean, it's my own fault, right, that I gave up on life, but the whole stopping brushing my teeth for, anyway.
Know about that she was being exposed to. That's what they didn't want people to know. So I submitted this document to the IG. Look, I did secret tests. I ran samples out to certain reputable universities. I secretly flew my son out for medical evaluation with a well-known immunologist. I got it all back, put it all together, went into their desk, laid it on there and said, tell me there's no toxins on this base. So they got the IG involved. We go into the big meeting with the IG, and I said, bring out my investigation, my report. Oh, well, we don't know where it is. Now, I've been told by other officers that the roof was being raised off headquarters because of this case. Reporters were calling from all over the place trying to get information. Headquarters was freaking out. They knew darn well what this case was. So I pressed them. I had my two courageous attorneys there, Clint Blackman and George Hardy. And I always say this, God bless you guys, I love you, man. They had courage, and I hope someday they get the credit for that. But we got the IG finally to pull out my investigative report that had all this evidence in it. What did we get? We got a one-page document written in someone else's handwriting that said that there was no problem at all, and their investigation had revealed nothing. So, are IGs always objective and honest? If they have interest in that organization, I can tell you right now, no. Should be, but they're not. Because of all of this, within these federal agencies, the NSA, the CIA, the DI, any agency that, especially the covert agencies that engage in nefarious operational programs, there is a culture of fear. You guys out there that still work there know what I'm talking about. Everyone, I used to call it the paranoia palace. Everybody inside there is afraid of saying anything because they know about this system. They will destroy you.
This is where you guys get me feeling bad for you. Like, you're trapped people. I don't know what to do about that, but you torture me all day long, so I don't know what to do about that. There's demons. I don't know what to do about that. There's unanswered prayers. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know. Anyway. What are you gonna do?
They'll destroy your career, they'll destroy your finances, they'll destroy your family, they'll take you all the way down as far as they can. Even from the outside. You remember Gary Webb, who exposed the CIA drug running operation down in Central America? Anybody know about that out there? Gary Webb eventually was driven to suicide. Remember that? Did anybody see the movie? Yeah, see the movie. They destroyed his career, his reputation.
I mean, swing and a miss there, though, right? Driven to suicide by shooting himself in the head twice. Like,
his life, his family, and then he was found dead of a gunshot wound in a hotel room. The perfect crime. Drive him to suicide, and there's no culpability, and your problem is gone. Frank?
That's where they've been doing me. That's with the whole David and Francine Wheeler and the like committing suicide, and that's where I really wonder what makes us catch each other, right? Mr. Hellborn's back. Okay, guy. But you're the precious angels of chemtrailery.
Olson jumped out of in the CIA LSD program. Jumped out of the, I think it was a 6-story window of a hotel room. Committed suicide because he...
Like, you guys literally been doing this for 80, 90 years, right? You've been torturing people, you've been assassinating people, like... You can't believe your own shit, your own bullshit that you've got, like, some kind of... Well, this is the secret God way.
It found out that the CIA was drugging people with LSD without their knowledge. What a coincidence. Frank commits suicide. John F. Kennedy again. How far will they go? Will they go that far? I think we all know the answer to that. And in a constitutional government, that's alarming, at the very least. Now, they tell us, well, 2012, Congress and Senate came out with, we're going to take care of this.
No mercy. That's, I mean, you know, again, I'm not, it's not why I've been, begging God for help is not because I'm expecting mercy from you guys. I really have just been wondering why, I mean, with the God stuff popping up, I get why you guys, like, paused, but, like, again, after they started this torture stuff, I went home and started listening to the frickin' Keep Hope in St. Francis, and I'm sure with their mind reading stuff, they realized that I was very sure that I was actually St. Francis once, so, yeah. Anyway. Doesn't mean that you, for sure, it doesn't mean that you get to go on keep raping people, right? For sure, that's not the message here. At best, the message is, you best stop. I don't know what at worst is.
Whistleblowers being at risk and their lives being destroyed, their careers being destroyed. So we're going to pass the 2012 Whistleblower Protection Act, allowing any whistleblower that sees any illegal activity on the part of the government, we're going to protect them so they can come out and report it. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds like a good thing. What they don't tell you is if you read down through the act, anybody that has signed a secrecy agreement, is involved in any covert government program, or handles anything classified, is not covered by the Whistleblower Protection Act. They have no protection. They are 100% at risk. And there are some that have come out thinking they were protected by this, and they were not. And they were penalized. That's the whole idea. This, I talked about the state secrets privilege. These cases are sealed, and no one can see them forever once they're sealed in court. And this was kind of the most disconcerting for me. There are certain major newspapers, of which if I mentioned their name, you would know them. These are national papers that are communicating and directly connected, in this case, to the CIA and in some cases.
I mean, I don't know how he misses so much, right? Like, they all run the same exact story. Certain newspapers. Every newspaper. Every media organization. Every last one. And I mean, not through CIA ties, right? Through Club Elite, your born special people.
The NSA. So, if a whistleblower decides, I'm freedom of the press, man, you know, I'm going to the press and I'm going to report to the press this illegal stuff that I've seen. So they call up XYZ national newspaper, and if you do enough checking, you'll find out who that is. I want to tell you my story. I want to tell you what I've seen. In this case, the reporter got...
And again, like, all points to Jesus there, like, moving the bar away from, like, this is some demon stuff, right? It is some demon stuff. I don't know. I don't know if it's Old Testament sins of Egypt clinging to people, or the balls, or if it's New Testament evil one stuff. I don't know, but anyway.
Right on the phone, contacted the CIA and told them what this person had just reported to the story. That has been done several times with this paper. They communicate with the CIA regularly regarding what they're going to publish and what they're not going to publish. Chile. I call this massive structure the shadow government. Another fellow calls it the deep state. Take your pick. But I want to show you how massive this secret government is. Now, this is since 9/11. I can tell you a lot of this was pre-existing 9/11. Most people think that the NSA surveillance program was a result of 9/11. Isn't that what you've been told? The NSA surveillance program existed before 9/11 happened. That's what they're not telling you.
They just used 9/11 as an excuse to get to do it, and then since people weren't going to do it, they mailed anthrax letters to, still can't find this when I look for it, right? But again, they mailed anthrax letters to the senators that opposed them. I don't know, I put this in a video the other day, didn't it? It's a News Garden article. What the anthrax letters tell us about the anthrax terrorists, and it was a it was a memory hole thing, right? A lot of people forget about this, but after 9/11, while they were like, terror level yellow, terror level red, terror level yellow, your children will die, right? Like, even though they knew they did 9/11, they were putting together, what was it, the anthrax attacks. The anthrax attacks were, you know, they're trying to scare everyone. Oh, the terrorists are mailing anthrax too. Like, we really got to get these Muslims. But what was happening was they were using it as a political tool. So they mailed anthrax letters to two people who were publishing articles about Bush's daughters partying drunk, and then they mailed anthrax letters to Senator Daschle and Senator Leahy, who were the two main Democrats that, I mean, they're all one party by now, I guess, and they're all just fully corrupt, but those were the two main Democrats that were opposing the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act is like a big part of why they get to, you know, your 14-year-old daughter's hot in the shower. No, national security, we're allowed to look. Anyway.
1,271 government organizations involved in secrecy within the United States. 1,931 private companies, large private.
Now here they go with their woo-woo stuff. Fury priest, fuck you. Like this again. This is the witches. This is the Nazi people, the special magic people, and this is where I worry, right? Like this is like getting busted. The witchy people aren't getting busted, right? It's the more patsy-like government people who they got doing their dirty work, and then, but those are the people that, you know, I mean, I do it too, right? I'm like CIA, NSA, like, because those are the people that I expect to be stopping these things, but anyway.
Companies involved in secrecy in the United States, bound by the secrecy agreement. 10,000 intelligence locations across the United States. Did you get that? 10,000 secret locations, not overseas, not in China, not in Indonesia, not in the inside.
I'm privileged. I mean, there's the one house that they're doing construction on near me where I joked to my friend because it was paused, right? For like 2 years, nobody touched that house. And then I joked to my friend, I was like, oh, that's probably a CIA safe house because nobody's like done any work on it in 2 years. And, like the next day, they were working on it. Now it just sits there empty with like a TV in the backyard and shit. So what do I got? I got like one safe house, not a safe house, right? It's a CIA gifted gang stalk house. One over here, neighbor, one over here. Kind of very wary of these people over here because they seem witchy and weird. And then that house that I'm talking about. Yay.
The United States. Now the CIA legally is only supposed to have a foreign charter. Anybody know that? It was forbidden from having any operations within the United States. That was its restraint. That restraint is now gone. 10,000 locations. 4.8 million Americans, and that's just the ones we know of, hold government security clearances and are bound by and threatened by the secrecy agreement. They stay silent. Now the figure's a lot bigger than that, but that's a lot of people, and their families, and everybody that they're connected to.
If I was you guys, I would just go full scorched earth and just like release everything possible. and then that way you can go escape in the noise and go off and I don't know. Or you just get rid of all the bioweapon attacks and all the Nazism and be happy people again. Unless you're like diligently working to figure out the witchcraft, and in which case I feel bad that I'm sabotaging your efforts by making it about more mundane crimes. I don't know, but I feel like you're very slow in your investigations if that's the case, and plus you're letting all this evil go through. So, and anyway,
Do you think they're going to speak up if it means total destruction? Probably not. 800.
I did it. I did it. Over here, right here, I did it.
so far it's only meant a solid like 80% destruction with the demon possession. I don't know.
And 54,000 people hold top secret security clearances, which has severe penalty.
But I mean, really, that's it. Like, that's like if the marker is that far in good versus evil, like that's where, you know, where else you gonna go? You're really gonna hope on like the demon brain bugs that are torturing you for getting you caught to? I don't know. I have no idea. I have a hard time believing that like good is that hopeless, but at the same time, it surely seems that way.
And there's compartments above that, some of which I had, that have even stricter penalties. But that is the number of people that have top secret security clearances where they've got the keys to the kingdom, essentially. Each one of these agencies employs the secrecy agreement as a binding tool. Now, it used to be to protect legitimate classified information. It has morphed into a threatening tool to silence dissent. Of course, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, the Department of State, Department of Justice, Department of Defense, Department of State, and now we know that NOAA and the National Weather Service are binding their employees with secrecy agreements. Why is the weather so secret? You gotta ask that, don't you? Maybe Dane's right. Why do they have to bind people like that? I am a huge proponent of the truth, and I am really, really up against secrecy in a constitutional government unless it's absolutely necessary. Why would the National Weather Service make a weather program secret and make people sign a non-disclosure form? You got to ask that question.
But I mean, that's where these lines are the same, right? Like this is, I don't know. Everybody when they get accusatory rattle off things like I do it too. So I wonder how snake inspired it is. Like again, it's demonic, right? It's like you get trapped and then someone that like myself, ha ha ha, that you've trapped starts trapping you, and it's just like I don't know. Anyway, so it's like makes it impossible to bring about any good because like evil's always getting a leg up every time. Again, like you guys, I don't know, you guys are brain raping me. Like go check your own brain. Make sure there's nothing. Make sure you ain't got no snake around your eyeballs.
The military-industrial complex, tens of thousands of government contractors. The government comes, for example, most people don't know this, the CIA has a technical firm it's created called In-Q-Tel. In-Q-Tel offered, I think it was a $5 million contract to Google. Now, what they do is they come to these companies and they say, hey, we'll give you a contract for $5 million, $20 million, and most companies are thirsty and they're out trying to get contracts to survive. So they'll say, oh, we'll take the contract. Google took the contract, $5 million contract. They are now joined with the CIA in Q-Tel. What are they doing? They're doing research on trends on the internet and Facebook. They're monitoring the internet is what they're doing. Let me just break that down for you. Now, do you think any of the Google executives can talk about the program?
I mean, kids, this video is what? This video is now like 8 years old at least. Kids just are like, of course they are. Like, to his generation, to my generation, I'm probably like 10 years younger than him, right? But, like, that was, we were brought up with the lie that, like, you had rights, right? Like, that's what people die for. That's what people fight for. That's what people believe in. That's how we base our like actions off of. Like, I know nothing could happen to me because I have a right to like. That's what they've removed. That's what they're removing. That's how Nazis took over Germany. I don't know. Who knows? But biblically, this is where I get stuck. I'm like, but I mean, like God's like, well, it's either saving souls or not saving souls. And I'm like, I can't save souls, so it's like pre-religion. You imagine yourself like, oh, what would I have done in slave times? Like, oh, I would have been, what would I do if I could have talked to Hitler when he was a kid or something, right? But like now it's like, I don't know. Anyway, who knows? Everything seems unfair to me. Everything seems broken and fucked.
Do you think maybe they made them sign an agreement before they got the $5 million? Yeah. Why don't you hear anything about that? Why isn't Google saying anything about that? Well, that's why. Employees at every level. If you've got big-time beltway bandit government contractor X that gets a covert agency contract, they are.
So anyway, I don't know. Maybe I should get revenge on the devil here, right? We should try and reposition this. Like again, this is it. This is the. I mean, even there, like, to experience it yourself, right? To know, like this, like no, that's how an old person looks. Like no, that's your third eye. That's like the snake thing taking over your brain and working on you. And he, like it probably still tickles him when he's older. Mostly, I'm sure it like guilt shames him sometimes, but I'm sure when he's got enough like the one witchy woman said Jesus told her to not. I guess I can't say that. That's too specific. But I'm sure when his neurons are firing good, demons will use him to smile so that they don't want the next generation to fully despair about doing evil. And again, like hell, I don't know. These guys, my torturers, say that I'm directly from hell. Like God sucks at gatekeeping then if I've come out of hell. But I really don't care. Like I whatever it is what it is. I can't change anything. All I can do is point this shit out. Even when he's younger, just hollowed, glassed out brain, like hollowed, glassed out brain family. Hollowed, like you after 13 years of demon possession, it's just it glares at me. Not that it glares at me spiritually, but I mean like the physical features of it. Yeah, like same sense of humor with it always. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. But that's where I talk about like my teeth had been ripped out from the inside. That's where the Bible stuff gets me. Like, in blessing you'll be blessed, in cursing you'll be cursed. Like, I don't feel like I'm cursing anyone. I don't get it. I feel like this is the right stuff to talk about. Anyway. Just making stupid videos that don't even make sense now. I don't know. You guys that are torturing me at least see some truth here, right? Normal people will look at this and be like, this guy's fucked, man. Like, I have tried to keep everything I've done as honest as possible while demons are ripping me into a million shreds. I don't know. I don't know what else to do with any of this. And I don't know how to trust God at all. I don't know. Anyway. Like, it does feel like I get my own strength back when I'm quitting smoking, but that's my own strength. I can't. Like, I know that I'm walking off cliffs that, like, religiously aren't, you know. They're not naturally sound, so. I have no answers, I just have, problems. But they're big problems, right? That's like the corporate speak, right? Like, oh, don't. Well, if you don't have a solution, you know. I don't have a solution to, like, demon Nazi sellout brain bug. And then again, right? Is it the Jesus stuff? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Like, you guys just got innocently demon caught. I don't know. I can't say. Ugh. Is it something else altogether? I have no idea. Anyway. Why don't you guys go invent a demon torturing machine and start zapping the brain bugs instead of torturing me? Ugh. Oh no, I didn't cap him. Anyway. My luck, right? They'd probably, like, kill me and then it'd be like the next year they'll be like, oh, we just discovered, look, the Dematron's online and, yeah, like, wow, this shit's getting into everybody with vaccination. Oh, this is, top of the deck. Elite plotting. This is the thing is, like, you guys are nervous because people do care. That's why you're, you know, I mean, I hate to know these things, right? I hate this situation. I would rather be figuring out the problem of, like, which movie I'm gonna go see with my friend, but this is what you gave me. This is the corner you stuck me in while you started torturing me. But I mean, that's their, like, that's their, whatchamacallit? They infiltrate by steps, right? So they get my friend in a group, so that'll be at the top of the deck. But, and then that also will make me paranoid about, like, a good friend that I have in Warcraft, and it's like, yeah. It's not that people don't care either, right? It's that, like, you guys are purposely putting, like, pacifying drugs into water and pacifying drugs into food and making sure that all food has no nutrition so people have no strength, so people are just like, oh, that sucks. Anyway. I don't know why I fight. Aside from the torture. It's either good's one or evil's one. In my mind, it's like one or the other, and it sure seems like evil's one. I mean, I guess around here, right? I don't know. Who's reincarnating us? It's definitely not you people. It's definitely not you people hiding in the dark, terrified of... Like, no, we're the Phoenix people. Yeah, you know, you people... Like, every gang stalker they send, like it's every time, you know, they can get me, like, pissed off as fuck. And then they send a gang stalker, and it's just like this broken person that looks like, you know, their life is miserable. Ugh. Anyhow.